Hi everybody, this is Rebecca Lynn Barkley, aka Boobot1987. This is my review for a day. And today's review, ladies and dudes, well my friends, it's that time again to do another brand new top 5 list that nobody has never done before. And this top 5 list is going to be another different one of all. So for today's top 5 list, I will do for today is the top 5 most saddest scores that I ever heard from the great and mighty Liam Neeson's films. And to tell you the truth is, ladies and dudes, out of all the actors or actresses out there who made so many good movies that involves whatever score they have, from happy scores, funny scores, emotional scores, peaceful scores, whatever, I'm gonna pick the scores that are kind of sad to me. Something that'll bring you a big giant tear to your eye. And to tell you the truth is, I think Liam Neeson's movies were the only movies that I can find that did feature a really sad score. And I'm just gonna pick only 5 good favorites that I enjoyed the best. And I'm sorry, ladies and dudes, I can't add any scores out there that came from the Schindler's List. But I do know one score that does kind of remind me of the Schindler's List in a way, but I will tell you that one in a moment. So anyway, without further ado, ladies and dudes, let's head on to my top 5 best and the most saddest scores that I ever listened to from all the films that I enjoyed from the great and mighty Liam Neeson. I can't wait for non-stop. So here we go on the list. At number 5 goes to the funeral scene from Michael Collins. I frickin' love this score. And Michael Collins is one of the most underrated movies that I ever watched that had a really awesome epic score. And this score is truly about in the end of the film where all the people in Ireland are going to say their last goodbyes to the most legendary Irish hero of all time. And no wonder Liam Neeson played a really awesome character who is one of the most legendary Irish heroes of all time. A guy who did risk his life to save his home country from the wrath of these evil British people who had ruled over Ireland for way too long. And Michael Collins did deserve to rescue his home country. And this score really did fit the movie well. And it is one of the most powerful but yet a triumphant score to tribute to one of the most legendary heroes of all time. You have better check out the funeral scene score. It was so darn epic and so darn unique. And I really like the Irish feel to it. It had a really powerful Irish feel. So yeah, check out Michael Collins. It's a great movie. I decided to put that number 5. Okay, for number 4 goes to the Les Miserables theme from the 1998 version of the Les Miserables. I promise to all of you I will do that movie review very, very soon, but I gotta go ahead and talk about this score. And you can listen to this score here and there in a couple of parts of the movie. It was pretty sad, very mysterious, and this score is all about the journey of what John Bon Jovi is heading to. And he needs to learn these things, what is right and wrong, what path he needs to go to, and learn everything that needs to be good. And one of the best parts I'll never forget when I heard this really sad, edgy score is I remember I listened to it when there was a part where Jean Bon Jovi and Fontaine are having this really sad and a very romantic relationship, but they only had a short period of time. Yeah, it was it's really hard to explain about that scene, but it was one of the most beautiful scores I ever listened to in my life. So, to cut this short, I decided to put the Les Miserables theme at the number 4 spot. Okay, for number 3 goes to one of my most favorite scores of all time, came from the first Taken movie. And since I love the Taken saga so much, I can't wait to see Taken 3. And yes, this movie right here did have a really sad score. And I got it right here on this piece of paper. Here it is, ladies and dudes. This is my choice for the number 3 spot, where Brian Mills has to head to this hotel that he knew from the past. So, here's number 3. And here's what I want to explain to you about this wonderful scene that I freaking enjoyed that featured a really, really sad score. One of my most favorite scenes, not just the phone scene, I really love the scene where Brian Mills is trying to help out that poor girl who became one of the sex slaves, and she got involved into drugs, and Brian Mills is going to do his best to help this girl out, to nurse her back into health, and this girl will be the only way to help out Brian Mills to search for his long-lost daughter, Kim. And thanks to the score, it really did fit the scene for the movie very, very well. It was really sad, really kind of loneliness, I guess. And this is where Brian Mills had a big giant breakdown where he is still kind of heartbroken even to this day when he really missed his daughter, and he only has, I don't know how many hours left until 96 hours will be up. And the best part I love about this score is it had a very nice piano feel to it. I really love this score that features a really beautiful sound of the piano. It may be short, but at least it's one of the best scores out there for the Taken saga. I wish I could say more about this score, so I decided to put that at number 3. And for number 2 goes to the Memorial from the Grey. Oh yeah, to tell you the truth, this, ladies and dudes, since the Grey had the most disappointing ending of all time, when they left it as a cliffhanger, the near end was one of the best parts I love about this movie. And yeah, if you watch the near end of the Grey, you'll see the part where John is kind of break down and he has nowhere else to go. He's completely lost, and he decides to stop, traveling around the mountains and all that stuff, and he decided to put all the wallets into separate areas and make it as a cross. And I really love the part where he looked at everybody's pictures for all their loved ones and their family members, and he wants to honor them in their memories. And that score that fits to the scene was definitely the most saddest part I've ever seen in this movie, and that score really did fit well. It's really tragic, really sad, and you gotta listen to this score to believe it. So I decided to put Memorial at the number 2 spot. And finally, for the number 1 best, saddest score that I ever listened to from the great and mighty Liam Neeson's movies, is definitely one of the most saddest scores that you'll ever listen to in your life. And it took place at the near end of the movie. So here it is, ladies and dudes. From Taken 2, the number 1 best saddest score ever is the death of the Porpoia dude. Now, to tell you the truth is, ladies and dudes, the death of the Porpoia dude leader is definitely one of my all-time favorite movie scores that I ever heard from one of the greatest films I ever watched, Taken 2. And to tell you the truth, ladies and gentlemen, you've got to pay attention to these two main scores of the near end of the film very carefully. One is from the movie version, while the other is from the soundtrack. And this score is all about where Brian Mills has to talk to this leader, the Propoya dude, one last time before Brian Mills can kill him off with only one part of his bare hand. And I'll never forget when Brian Mills made that awesome speech where he told that guy, forget about the mission that you're in, just go back to Propoya where you belong, enjoy your sons and grandsons who are still living right now, even to this day. And you gotta live with the death of your son. I'll never forget that moment, what Brian Mills said to that guy. And that score was definitely one of the most darkest, edgy, and the most saddest score that you'll ever listen to in your life. If you listen to both of these scores very carefully, for the movie version, it had no violent feel to it. But in the soundtrack, it does have a violent feel to it. And speaking of the soundtrack for Taken 2, that score did remind me of something that came from the Schindler's List. And since I never heard the Schindler's List score so much, that score did remind me of that movie. I think it might be a part where, Oscar Schindler was singing about those poor Jewish people who are suffering and dying, and for what those evil Nazi dudes had done to them, if you know what I mean. So, please don't forget to watch this movie all over again, and try to get to know what the near end is all about. I wish I could say more about this, but the death of the Propoya dude leader deserves to be the #1 most saddest score that I ever heard from all the films that I ever watched from the great and mighty Liam Neeson. So, that is it, ladies and dudes. That is my top 5 most saddest scores that I ever listened to from all the films that I enjoyed from the great and mighty Liam Neeson. I hope you enjoyed this list, and join me next time for my brand new movie review called The Non-Stop. And I want to send a message for the cast of Taken 3. Please make one of the most epic movies that we'll never forget in movie history. I wish you luck. Liam Neeson, Famke Janssen, Maggie Grayson, that Forrest guy. Please make Taken 3 one of the most epic movies ever in movie history. And I also want to message that person who did both Taken 1 and 2, please make some more epic scores, because the Taken scores are frickin' awesome! And that's all I want to say for today, ladies and dudes. So, I hope you enjoyed this list. And one last thing, ladies and dudes. What is your most favorite score that you've ever listened to in your life that was pretty darn sad? Whichever it is, leave a comment there. Let me know. And so, that is it for now. I will see you all later. Sayonara.